You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back, Rutgers, for Black and White Sports 2. Well, we're going to talk about Jim Harbaugh. Now, for full disclosure, I am a Jim Harbaugh fan. I'm a Jim Harbaugh guy. Lifelong 49ers fan, lifelong Wolverines fan. Don't tell me how that works out because I'm in Texas. One's in Michigan. The other one is in San Francisco. Don't hold that part against me. But look, big Montana, big Rice fan growing up. Bill Walsh. Just loved the Niners. And the Wolverines, those helmets, Bo Schembechler back in the day. I was like, those are the coolest uniforms I've ever seen when I was probably like 8 years old. And that was it. I was a Wolverines fan, would be for life. And, of course, all the different players that came out of there, including Jim Harbaugh, who, of course, had a pretty good NFL career. He did. Captain comeback, pretty good NFL career. But he has been a really, really damn good head coach. Whether it was Stanford, whether it's been Michigan, whether it was for the 49ers, he's been a really good head coach. And, of course, he's been, I guess you could say, fighting back and forth with the damn NCAA. Now, it came out a while back that he would not be serving a suspension this year. But au contraire, and I think this is very calculated from Jim Harbaugh. Michigan and Jim Harbaugh have gotten together, and they have self-imposed, a 3-game suspension. And I think this is kind of shrewd, frankly, particularly based on the schedule, okay? Now, I said this before in the video I made where I said the news broke that he was not going to have a suspension this year, at least from the NCAA. I said, I think if this was some other schools, the NCAA wouldn't even have tried this. I just don't believe they try it with Georgia. I don't believe they try it with Alabama. And I don't even know if they try it with Ohio State. And frankly, I'm surprised Michigan, and like I said, lifelong fan, but I'm surprised Michigan didn't go back to the NCAA and say, what power do you really have here anymore? And that's the real question. What does the NCAA have from a power standpoint? Because in a lot of ways, it feels like they're an organization that is becoming obsolete, frankly. At some point, these conferences are not going to need the NCAA for football. They're just not. But Jim Harbaugh's a stand-up guy, and he's like, look, let's proactively do this. There's no way this is not calculated. And I give Harbaugh some credit for that. Yahoo Sports, Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh will be suspended for part of this season after all. Yahoo Sports can confirm Harbaugh is expected to be suspended for the first 3 games of the regular season for making what the NCAA deemed to be false statements amid an investigation into allegedly recruiting violations that occurred during the COVID-19 pandemic and dead period. Good grief. Harbaugh informed his team of the suspension on Monday afternoon. The lengths and bounds these universities have gone to, by the way, Rutgers, are still requiring the vaccine, for Christ's sakes. The Maize and Blue Review, Rivals.com, Michigan website, first reported this news. It's a self-imposed suspension from the university that will allow Harbaugh to return for Michigan's Week 4 game versus Rutgers, September 23rd. The Wolverines' Big Ten opener. Michigan is coming off back-to-back Big Ten championships and has eyes on a national title in 2023. Harbaugh and the NCAA had previously come to a tentative agreement for the coach to serve 4-game suspension, but those talks broke down late last week. Yahoo Sports' Dan Wetzel reported that those hurdles arose in those negotiations, and the case would likely instead move further through the NCAA's disciplinary system, likely after the 2023 season. Since then, Harbaugh and Michigan apparently reconsidered, and he will now miss his team's first 3 games of the season versus East Carolina, UNLV, and Bowling Green. All 3 games will be played at Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, as will Wolverines' Week 4 game versus Rutgers, a game that would mark Harbaugh's return to the sidelines Even with Michigan self-imposing the suspension, the NCAA could further inflict further penalties. I hope not. I mean, really, come on. In a notice of allegations sent to Michigan in January, the NCAA alleged that the Wolverines had impermissible meetings with 2 recruits during a COVID-19 dead period. Other violations, all of which are considered level 2, including texting a recruit outside of contact period, exceeding the NCAA's limits on on-field coaches by having analysts instruct players during practice and having coaches watch players work out over Zoom. Harbaugh is accused of being dishonest when questioned by the NCAA about alleged violations committed during the COVID-19 dead period. Harbaugh's alleged dishonesty was deemed a level 1 violation. Yahoo Sports reported last month that Harbaugh acknowledged the program committed a level 2 violations, but he had refused to sign any document or publicly state that he was dishonest with NCAA enforcement. The Michigan infractions case is related to impermissible on- and off-campus recruiting during the COVID-19 dead period. That still sounds so utterly stupid, I just can't even contemplate what the hell. And impermissible coaching activities, not a cheeseburger, said Derek Crawford, NCAA Vice President, Hearing Operations last week. It is not uncommon for the Committee on Infractions to seek clarification on key facts prior to accepting. If the involved parties cannot resolve a case through negotiated resolution process, it may proceed to a hearing. But the committee believes the cooperation is the best avenue for quickly resolving issues. So I don't know whether or not there's an understanding going on or not involving Michigan, involving Harbaugh, involving the NCAA. But I think maybe that's what happened here. And guys, just for some clarification on his coaching career, how about 103-46, including 12-2 and 13-1 his last 2 seasons at Michigan. So, and in between that, 44-19 with the Niners, including a Super Bowl appearance. So, I mean, look, the guy can flat coach. What he did with Stanford at 29-21, a lot of people don't realize winning 8 games and 12 games, and he won an Orange Bowl, by the way, in that 12-1 Stanford season, with the kind of academic standards and those kind of academic handcuffs. I mean, you're one hell of a ball coach. I do think, as much as I hate to say this because I'm a Michigan fan, I do believe eventually he goes back to the NFL. Okay? I do think he has strategically used some of those flirtations with the NFL as leverage to get more money, as well he should, as well as any other coach should do just that. Okay? If you can play up the I can go to the NFL card to get more money, do it. All right? Because I think a lot of people do believe the Vikings probably would have hired Harbaugh. The Broncos wanted to hire Harbaugh. Okay? I feel like he was like, well, I'm just not quite done. I tend to believe this may be the final run for Jim Harbaugh at Michigan. I do think maybe after this season, we could be looking at the NFL. And I felt for sure he was going to take that Bears job a couple of years ago when it was open. Or this Colts gig when it opened up, okay? Because he's got ties to the Bears, he's got ties to the Colts. But he didn't. He didn't. And I don't know what he's necessarily waiting on. I brought this up earlier, too. The job that he did with Alex Smith is nothing short of remarkable, okay? I brought that up in my Zach Wilson video because I was talking about ways that Wilson, if Rutgers plays another 3 to 5 years, could Zach Wilson salvage his career? Yeah, Alex Smith did, and Alex Smith was an all-time kind of bust, and this is the guy, Harbaugh, who saved his career. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And the one thing that Harbaugh knew how to do was work with quarterbacks. And he came in, got to work on Alex Smith. Now, one could say he kind of messed up not letting Alex continue, but nonetheless, he salvaged Alex's career, and then Alex went on not only for a good run with the Niners, but a good run with the Chiefs. And I think if he hadn't gotten hurt, he'd have had a 2 or 3 year good run with the Washington Redskins. Yeah, I said Redskins. Tell me what you think, Black and White Sports 2 supporters. A calculated move by Harbs, I believe anyway. If you ever get a chance, go out, watch a video where he stops and he helps a cop this past winter move a damn tree out of the road during an ice storm, before an ice storm, after a bad thunderstorm, something. And it's literally storming then while he's moving this tree with this law enforcement officer out of the road. It's pretty good stuff. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.